Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another heavyweight news mashup video today, starting with Joyce, who's taken to social media to call out Joseph Parker, saying, "Let's fight." And this follows some speculation online that perhaps a fight between the two makes sense for a number of reasons. And on the back of that, Joyce is saying, "Yo, what's happening, Joe Boxer Parker? Let's dance, bro. Number 1 versus number 2, hashtag the Juggernaut." And what that number 1 versus number 2 is in reference to is the WBO rankings. So there's a couple of things to get into with this whole thing, because the talk of Joyce and Parker has materialized at a time that talks between Parker and Chisora for a rematch have sort of stalled. And bearing in mind, Joseph Parker has come off contract after his last fight against Derek Chisora. He had been on a deal with Matchroom and DAZN, etc. But that's finished. So what's happening now is probably more likely broader than just a Chisora fight. It's probably part of a wider deal for Parker to sign for a few fights. But also because Eddie Hearn and the Matchroom stable has gone to DAZN. What does that mean for Parker, who'd been getting pay-per-view money? What does that mean for Chisora? All these guys want to get paid, and incredible amounts. So I'm sure there's some sticking points. And one of the things that has been very evident in Parker's career is that they will absolutely go for the jugular on the money front, as opposed to maybe chasing a fight and taking less money. They're always looking for top dollar, and I would expect that trend to continue. So if it comes down to a bidding war, it's probably more likely that the Derek Chisora side is going to end up, or for that fight, it's going to end up going that route. Unless BT and Frank Warren stump up a decent chunk of change for Joseph Parker, who has got significant paydays through his career. He has been fighting on pay-per-view in the UK, obviously in New Zealand for a long time, and all his fights in New Zealand are still on pay-per-view. Even the ones when they were broadcast on DAZN were still pay-per-view in New Zealand. So there's that revenue stream that he brings to the table as well. Because Duco Events, which was Parker's former promoter, and David Higgins, who owns Duco, is still advising Joseph Parker in terms of his career. They've jumped on this, put a post to social media. Joyce could be the next option for Joseph Parker to get in the ring with. Who'd you rather see? So this was almost a day before Joyce came out with that call out. But no surprise that Duco is seeding this out there, trying to get a little bit of attention. And this here is from an article from New Zealand media. So it is a case that this is out there, that potentially this fight is, there, could happen. And actually, it would be a very good fight in terms of, on paper, two guys in the top 10, there or thereabouts, a meaningful fight. Also, whoever wins would guarantee the mandatory spot for the WBO to be the next challenger. That is the sort of designation that Frank Warren says Joyce will automatically get at some point after Alexander Usyk has his mandatory shot against Anthony Joshua. So they're saying that Joyce is a guy who's waiting for a title shot. He's going to get the mandatory, and obviously fighting the number 2 in the top 15, it's a meaningful fight, all that sort of stuff. But I just kind of wonder if there's some smoke and mirrors here from the Parker side, trying to crib more money, trying to get some more dosh on the negotiation front with Matchroom, because they're off contract. It's their opportunity to do so. Can't blame them, but it just said the timing with the talks of the Chisora rematch, they're stalling out a little bit, and it can only be down to money. It always is about money. I just wonder if this is just some smoke and mirrors to try divert attention and maybe look like there's some other services, other potential suitors for Parker's services, should I say. But if the fight was to happen, I think Joyce probably goes in a favourite. Not sure I like the style matchup for Joseph Parker in that one, but not going to get into that anymore because, hey, we don't even have a fight. We've just got some pie in the sky stuff, and now a call out from Joyce. What do you make of it all? Tyson Fury is saying that he thinks eventually he will fight Anthony Joshua. So he's told the overlap, I've never been optimistic about this fight happening, even when the fight was agreed initially and we were set to go at it in Saudi Arabia. But I still wasn't optimistic about it, and guess what? It never happened. But I do feel this fight will eventually happen. I do think sooner or later it will happen, even if we have to go completely AWOL and bend the belts to make the fight happen between us for whatever reason. I'm willing to do that. I'm not sure about him. But Joshua, in previous interviews, has stated, without the belts, I rate that. That's what I'm talking about. We'll fight 100%. Let's do it. I'll smoke that guy. I will. It's annoying. And actually, in response to that comment, Tyson Fury has said AJ couldn't smoke a cigarette. Never mind smoke the Gypsy King. I will absolutely annihilate that bodybuilder. That's why Eddie Hearn's been staring around me for the past 10 years. Well, Joshua hasn't been pro for 10 years, so it can't be that long for Joshua at least. But in terms of this fight, I mean, yeah, let's just see. I'm not holding my breath at this point. Kash Ali is set to defend his IBF European title on September the 18th on a Fight Zone card in the UK, and his opponent is going to be Roman Gorst. So you can see here on screen, so Roman Gorst, the former German heavyweight champion, record of 7-1, and his only loss coming to Peter Kaderu, the young prospect who took the title. He was 9-0 at the time, became 10-0 and grabbed that title off Gorst. But Gorst did take a couple of rounds from him, but convincingly enough for Kaderu in that one. I think this is a sort of certain level of fight where Kash Ali can look good in. He looked much improved in this last fight, and I think what they're going to look to do, because there has been some talk after that fight, where could he go, what could he do? But his promoter, Dennis Hobson, I think they're just going to keep him fighting on Fight Zone for now. But maybe a potential a future opponent could be Dave Allen. Dave Allen is fighting on the sort of Fight Zone platform. His comeback fight was on there. His next fight is also going to be on there October the 23rd, as he has said. So maybe eventually in another few fights, Kash Ali versus Dave Allen, that could be a realistic fight to make. It effectively is in-house, and if Allen has a few more sort of, as it were, tune-ups or warm-ups or comeback fights, whatever, maybe Ali and Allen will eventually get made. And that would be a good main event, I think, for the Fight Zone platform, which is still trying to sort of get off the ground, bring the punters in, all that sort of stuff. Some other fight news. So we've got prospect Albon Pervizaj. He's going to be returning September the 18th. That's going to be in Hamburg. Also, you have the EBU sort of minor title holder Umut Camkiran. He's also unbeaten. He will be returning on that same card. As yet, no opponent. Another guy that's got some fight news, Timothy Moten. This is a fight that was rescheduled to a new date, November the 6th. So that's about 8 weeks out or so from there. He's currently 10-0. And just finishing this heavyweight news smash-up video, this post from Lenroy Thomas, the former Commonwealth champion. I saw this and I thought, yeah, that's, I was a little surprised, and yeah, great post. He says, boxing is lonely and a poor man's sport. The ones who started with you won't finish with you. Boxing means less fun, less family time, less sex, etc. In the end, it will be worth it. In the moment, most of your friend and the woman you love will leave you. The ones that stick with you through your dark days deserve a seat at the table. Just remember, at the end of the tunnel, nothing but sunshine. Hashtag keep going. Hashtag siesta boxing. Lenroy Thomas there, getting all deep and meaningful. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.